Hey guys, and welcome back to another Let's Discuss video. Today I'm going to be talking about Roth IRAs and exactly what they are, some of the pros and cons about them, as well as my thoughts about them personally. If you guys have watched my videos in the past, you'll know that I have a Roth IRA. I think it's a good investment tool to use, although there are some drawbacks that you need to consider when you both own one or want to open one up in the future. But yeah, before we get into that, if you haven't checked out my latest M1 Journey video, I'll provide a link to that now, as well as always like and subscribe. I always really appreciate it. And then lastly, we are just a week out for the drawing for the Amazon gift card. I've been really blown away by the response I've been getting from it. It's been really a great tool for my channel to promote and kind of expand my reach a little bit. So thank you to all those guys. But yeah, if you guys haven't entered yet, please do so, because I'll stop taking entries at 5 p.m. next Wednesday, December 9th. And then my drawing will be in my next Let's Discuss video next Thursday. So hope you guys are looking forward to that. As well as on my Twitter page, starting probably tomorrow, I will start running a poll again about what you guys think the next stock I should discuss will be, which will be the topic of next week's video. So I guess we'll go ahead and discuss Roth IRAs. So to discuss what exactly a Roth IRA is, it's a special type of individual retirement account. It's not through an employer or through a workplace. It is opened individually by the person. It's generally for those who expect that throughout their lifetime they will be in a higher tax bracket by their retirement age, which makes sense for almost everybody's like that has savings. So it's kind of a good opportunity to kind of build up a nest egg as well as savings. It's tax advantaged to where you don't have to pay any capital gains taxes on anything you withdraw, as long as you're past the age of 59 and a half, which is considered retirement age. So that's one of the main benefits and why people open them. So exactly some of the pros and cons about opening a Roth IRA. I'll kind of start with the pros, which is one I kind of just mentioned. There's no capital gains taxes or tax distributions on gains in a Roth IRA as long as you take them out after 59 and a half. But that's only on the gains that you've gotten, so that's kind of neat. But in the meantime, if you're not 59 and a half or you're a little bit younger, you can at any time with no penalty or no taxes take out what you've put in. So if you put in $10,000 or something over the course of a couple of years, and that $10,000 grows to be $15,000, you can still take out that $10,000 that you put in of your own money with no penalty, no taxes. But if you take out more than that, if you take out $12,000 of that grown to be $15,000, you'd have to pay taxes on $2,000. But as long as you're taking out what you put in, if something comes up, you need a few extra funds from a big bill or an emergency or something happens, you're free to take that out at your discretion. But most people try to not do that because obviously you want to keep your money together to keep it growing for the long term. So another one of my pros is that obviously when you do become of retirement age, there's no taxes and there is no minimum distribution. So most 401ks, I believe when you reach the age of 72, you start to have a minimum withdrawal every single year. With a Roth IRA, you do not have to do that. There's no minimum withdrawal or distribution that you have to meet. There's no obligation there, which is another pro because a lot of people may not need it and are thus forced to take out extra money, which can force them into a higher tax bracket for income purposes. So that's another advantage that the Roth IRA provides. But as far as a couple of cons, One is there is a maximum contribution that you can meet each year, which is $6,000 annually, which obviously sounds like a lot of money, but it's not as much when you're working or have a higher paying job. So you get capped out pretty early, which versus a 401k is pretty low, because I think the maximum contribution to a 401k is somewhere near 19,000. You get a little bit of boost if you're closer to retirement age. If you're over 50, you can contribute up to 7,000 each year. And of course, that number is subject to change as inflation is adjusted and stuff like that. But then the other con is also you can no longer make contributions to your Roth IRA if you are a single tax filer. If you make more than $140,000, you can no longer make contributions to a Roth IRA. And then if you file jointly, if you have a spouse or someone else, the most you can make combined is $208,000 before you're capped out, and you can no longer make contributions regularly to your IRA. So those are a couple of pros and cons to consider, but overwhelmingly I have to see that a Roth IRA is a huge positive for anybody who is saving for retirement and kind of trying to build a financial future. They're just, the tax advantages are just really, really excellent over the long haul, and it provides a way to have money on hand in the case of emergency, which are a lot of times unavoidable. And it's just nice to know that even if you contribute that money, it's not locked up for years and years, which is good. So a lot of people wonder, well, if I open up a Roth IRA, what should I put my money into? And really that depends on the person. If you're kind of a hands-off investor, or you don't really want to worry about it, the best possible course I'd recommend is to invest in 3 or 4 index funds that are managed by large brokerages, Vanguard, Invesco, Spider, to name a few, that track some of the major indexes like the S&P 500 or even total stock market indexes. The bond market, there's an ETF for that. I'm personally invested with that. Commodities maybe. But if you're a little bit more of an active manager, an option could be some kind of mix of index funds as well as individual companies. That is what I choose to do. I'm pretty hands-on when it comes to my investments to this point, so I feel pretty comfortable having a mix of indexes as well as individual companies. If you watch some of my other videos, you'll see I have 10 holdings total in my IRA. I actually just opened it 3 months ago, so it's pretty new, pretty fresh, but I really, really like it because it's money that I know I'll have, and I'm comfortable with my investments and where I'm putting it. As far as what some expectations are, I would really try to aim for 10% growth each year. That's kind of what we've seen, annualized returns from the S&P 500 over the last 80 to 90 years. That's a really good number to look for. And adjusted for inflation, that's about 7% growth annually. That's probably the minimum goal I would have, but it's entirely possible and even likely that you could exceed those returns. That would probably be something that you should aim for, to kind of exceed the S&P 500's growth, since that's kind of the benchmark that everybody compares to. Other goals or investment ideas I could give is kind of aim for dividend payers. Any kind of yield is going to be really, really good to kind of get some cash flow coming back in your account that can only circle back in and then compound over the long term. The compounding effect will be really dramatic. Not so much at first, but the more it rolls, the more you're going to see down the road. I've seen that even in my own investment accounts. Just even less than a year ago, I was getting pennies in dividends and other payments. And as I've stuck with it while also making continued contributions, I'm seeing those kind of grow into from 60 to 70 cents to now $3 or $4, which is obviously still not a great amount of money, but if I'm getting that here when I'm 20 years old, imagine what that could be when I'm 50 or 60 years old. So that's kind of the way to look at it. You know, it's a slow go, but it's one that'll pay off in the end. I believe that. So find some dividend payers that you like, believe in, have a pretty good yield. Don't chase yield. Don't look for something that has 6, 7, 8%. I mean, if you can get 1 to 2 or 3% in a Roth IRA, you're doing pretty good, and you're staying pretty safe overall, I would say. But if I had another advice, I would say find a brokerage you like. There's a ton out there that offer Roth IRA accounts. I personally always use M1 Finance. I like their system. I love the Pi system and how it works. I think it's really good for anyone who's either experienced or not. I think it's probably one of the best in the business, and I'm excited where they're going to go in the future as a company, because they're kind of small as of now. But companies like Fidelity or Charles Schwab or any other companies that are out there, I'm sure also have great platforms that you guys could use. But those are some of my thoughts about Roth IRAs. If I had to close with one final thought to leave you with, it's that if you can open one, you should do it. Even if it means you're contributing just a few dollars here and there when you can, I think it'd be well worth it. Because like I said, that compounding effect is a slow go. I won't tell you that you're going to be wealthy overnight, because you're not. But if you stick with it and really just let it sit and don't be too finicky about it, I think it'll really pay off in the long haul. That pretty easily, with little to no effort, I would say you could have hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars, depending on how much you contribute to start out with. Because I always say investing money now is always better than investing money later. So if you're young, if you're 18, 19, 20, like I am for now, I would say get after it. Do your own research, of course. I'm no expert. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and tell you I am, but if you guys can just find some few dollars here or there to invest and just set it aside now, it's a lot better than doing it later. You know, I know a lot of people don't have a lot of money to invest or a lot of discretionary funds, and that's completely understandable. But if you can, I would implore you to at least look into it at a minimum, or make plans to do it in the future. So I guess I've been rambling on about it long enough, so I'll get ready to wrap this thing up. So as always, guys, please like and subscribe if you enjoy my content. I really appreciate it. And if you haven't joined that raffle for the Amazon gift card, please feel free to do so. If you're already subscribed, you're already part of the way there to getting into the raffle and entry. Check out the social media pages at bprude_YT, Instagram and Twitter. On Twitter, check out my poll if it's up by the time I've uploaded this video. But yeah, I think that's about it. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll catch you in the next video. Thanks.